We got way more Ghost of Tsushima info thanks to interviews that were just posted, so after the State of Play gameplay stream. We got details on the different playstyles and how it works different than I expected, the world map that should be pretty big, what are those yellow dots, we finally know it, how do we get gear, what is the difficulty of this game, and way more. I will tell you all the info here in this video, so a like would be super appreciated. And let's go. I, by the way, started a giveaway for the Digital Deluxe edition, and all you need to do is follow the link in the pinned comment for a chance to win, and be sure you are a subscriber as well before you enter. And I will announce the winner in the week of release, so the winner still got time to pre-order and get those bonuses as well. Okay, let's start with the world of this game. We of course saw the map briefly in the State of Play footage, but now we learned, thanks to an IGN interview that I will link to in the video description, that was just a portion of the starting area of the game. Like, the overall world should be way bigger. It's a lot bigger than infamous Second Son. It's definitely Sucker Punch's biggest game we've ever made by a landslide, both in the amount of stuff that's in it and also just sheer landscape square footage wise. And this according to Jason Connell, the creative director on the game, and we of course saw many things in the distance already, and we should be able to explore all of it. And also pretty early in the game. First though, they want to set up the story, and I think we saw parts of that already in the story trailer. They first want to introduce Jin, tell what is going on, so likely showcase the Mongol invasion. It's really important to do that before we just open the floodgates. But then once you get to that point, then it's pretty open. Religions on Reddit did some pretty interesting calculations comparing this to the real world map of Tsushima Island, and saying that what we actually saw in the demo was over here in the real world map. And the result is, according to his calculations, that the world of Ghost of Tsushima is 49 square kilometers. And we see comparisons to other games here as well. So it's of course all rough, but it does give us some sort of indication. I think we can just overall say that it's going to be a pretty big world. And we already saw glimpses of other biomes that this world has to offer. Snow, rolling grasslands. There should be a lot of variety in the landscapes, and Sucker Punch wants to make sure that the world is packed with people that have stories and just many things that we can find. Because upgrading your character is linked to exploration. We already saw the shrines that let you unlock charms to put on your armor, but also skill points or technique points, how they are called, can also be found in the world. And we even see gear, like a hat on a statue here. YouTuber Julian posted a French video about things that he learned from his interview, and I will also link to that in the description. And there he talked about how you can get the different armor sets. You can namely buy it in villages as well, so there should be shops. You can also get armor from main story missions and also from side quests. And they already talked about it in the State of Play, but overall armor should have a huge impact on the combat. Like, heavy armor will not be smart to wear if you want to go for a stealthy approach, because it makes you less agile. In the State of Play, they really made the distinction between the samurai and the ghost playstyle, but turns out that you are actually completely free in what you do, and you can even combine the two playstyles if you want. So Jin is already a samurai at the start of the game. He's trained by a master to learn the code, so is very good with a sword already. But he figures out that just the way of the samurai will not be enough to defeat the Mongols who invaded his island. So he starts to think of different tactics, and then you slowly turn into the ghost as the game progresses, and that is also where that legend system comes in that we talked about in a previous video. By completing this location, you namely get legend points that fill your icon, and then the Mongols will fear you even more. The big thing is though that you can choose what kind of ghost you want to become. On the stealth State of Play segment, if you want to jump off the roof and start fighting like a samurai, you could totally do that. We don't spec you out and suddenly you can't play as a samurai. He's always at his core, his heart of hearts, a samurai. The ghost is this legendary warrior that he's evolving into. And that's also what the creative director notes. So thanks to the skill tree and the different techniques and armor and upgrades we can unlock, we eventually can kinda make the character that we want. whether it's a full samurai or a full ghost or something in between. And I really like this approach, without pushing people in one direction. Of course, we have to kind of wait and see how deep the customization will go, but at least it sounds great. And by the way, the shipyard that we saw in the demo can already be accessed pretty early in the game, but the Jin we saw in the demo was already like mid-level, so he already unlocked some of the possibilities while not being fully endgame. We for example saw 3 available stances, while only the stone and water stance were actually showcased, but there should be even more stances in the game. And this also from that French Julian interview, but Kaiser Starkey on Reset Era actually translated it and did a great job. I will also link to it in the video description. Risa reached out via the input@JorRaptor.com email address, just like you can if you found something interesting regarding Ghost of Tsushima, and just put Ghost of Tsushima in the title then. Either way, talking about how these stances could be inspired by the Book of 5 Rings. And if that is the case, then we would have earth, water, but also fire, wind and nothingness. And it's once again confirmed that you switch between these stances depending on the enemy that you are fighting. And those yellow points that we also touched on in the previous video are called the resolved meter. And we saw Jin do a special attack with this once during the state of play, and that you get points back by parrying incoming attacks and also killing enemies, but these points can actually also be used to heal yourself. So kind of like Spider-Man, where you would also gain points by just fighting, and then you could also use them to heal you or do special attacks. We of course had that sub-challenge that said kill enemies without healing, so then you do not want to spend the points on healing. But overall it seems like the healing will come in handy, because this game should be very challenging. Like the player we saw in action during the state of play is very good at the game, so he made it actually look easy. But overall they really want to make this game grounded, so enemies go down with 1 or 2 strikes, but you can only take a few hits as well. There will be a ton of Mongol enemies, and some will obviously be harder to kill than others, but there won't be like a level indicator for specific camps, just a combination of enemies, and the specific enemies will determine how strong the camp is. And you can easily get overwhelmed if you just go into a camp without a tactic, if there are like 5 enemies fighting you at the same time. They want to make it challenging so that the victories are more satisfying as well. So apart from like sneaking around in camps or going in as a cool samurai, there are also these 1v1 duels, kind of like boss fights that work kind of different than the regular combat. I think we saw the introduction, the sort of intro to these duels in the black and white footage, but if we actually go back to E3 2018, we get a way better look at these duels and see that the enemies can take way more hits and the fights will be longer and more cinematic. Game director Nate Fox notes that these fights are super difficult and driven by personality, because the people that you fight, you've come to know first, and you are resolving sort of issues maybe in the most cinematic way possible. And also that you have to study your opponent and learn how they attack in order to win. In the E3 2018 demo, we saw that Masako was kinda angry at the guy that you saved, so wanted to kill him, and then you came up for him, so then you had to like resolve the personal issues you had via this awesome looking duel. And this was a side quest, and overall everything we saw in the state of play was also side content. It was there to show how important it is to explore the world, and that you want to have the wind guide you to the location that you selected, or maybe look for smoke or animals like birds or foxes. We also briefly saw an NPC getting attacked by a bear, and you likely can decide to help, but it now has been confirmed that while you can take out these animals, there's nothing to gain from it. So no ladder or something for the crafting system. Their purpose is mostly to immerse you more in the world. Big questions I had after watching the state of play are now mostly resolved, but I also want to see more about the main story and other narrative content, because really, if you think about it, we haven't seen a main story quest at all in this game yet. But one thing is clear, and that is that while you can focus on the story, it's really smart to just get lost in the world and explore to find secrets to upgrade your character. And I really like that take, and with no holiday this summer, I think this game is totally releasing in the perfect time on July 17th. Totally subscribe if you are new for everything Ghost of Tsushima. When there are new details, I will let you know here. A like on the video would be awesome, and totally check out my full state of play gameplay breakdown by clicking on the screen. For now though, I will speak to you next time, and goodbye.